Good morning, Donald Raymond here, host of Financial Fitness. So this is an unscheduled episode, unplanned, as you'll find out if you're just starting to listen, or as you already know if you have listened to several of my episodes. I tend to draw on personal experience, life application, very applicable from my day to day, and this morning is not going to be an exception to that. You guys also know that I use my son as an example a lot. So no apologies there. We only have the one child and he's everything to us, right? But all that aside, he's just an amazing kid. And anyway, taking him to school this morning, dropping him off, we're talking about how he can be a better leader, a better example to other classmates. We had received some feedback from the teacher that maybe some of the kids were being disruptive and that our son was involved or participating in some of those disruptions. And he didn't like how that made him feel at the end of the day. And so we talked through that. And, obviously, he's 6 years old. And so he's processing, learning how to deal with all those emotions. But it struck me that while we're having this conversation with a 6-year-old about how to handle peer pressure, how to handle being discouraged about whether or not he can improve his behavior and how he gets distracted by other kids. This 6-year-old said in response to all that, I need to be a better example to the other kids. And if I can be a better example, and obviously I'm speaking for him now, he didn't quite articulate it this way, but as I just sat there and listened to him, this is what came out. He said, if I can be a better example, others will follow my lead. And they will also want to behave better. And then maybe our class can be the best class in the whole school, and our teacher will get the benefit of that, essentially, is what he was saying. Our teacher's going to be happy. That's what he said. And I just thought, wow, that's what a great lesson for an adult from a child to hear him say, go out, be a better example, go against the grain. And if you're listening through this podcast series and you're picking up some of these concepts, I hope one of the things that you're gonna take away is that the concepts, while really simple, are not all that easy to apply. And so we do have to do that very intentionally. And that's a word you'll hear me use a lot. But also, they're very different than what you probably experience out there in the world in your day-to-day interacting with your peer group, with your sphere or circle of influence. So this is just a moment, I'm going to call it a moment of encouragement. I had to come home, and really, this is happening in real time. So let me kind of set the stage for you. We get up. We knew that today we were going to have to work on behavior. We had talked about it last night. So when he said those things in the car on the way, I just knew right away I was going to sit down. I was going to do a totally unscripted, unrehearsed, unprepared for short podcast just to capture this moment. And maybe even for selfish reasons, because I don't want to lose the memory and the experience of going through this process of raising a child and all of the moments, not just the good moments, right? But the bad moments too. We learn from those, and that was part of our conversation this morning in the truck. We talked about the fact that we don't have to be perfect. And that was really where the encouragement, inspiration for me came from. When the 6-year-old was encouraging me, encouraging himself, but I was encouraged by what I heard. He was trying to encourage himself and motivate himself to go out and be a better leader, a better example for his class. And he thought that by doing that would have sort of a ripple effect and others would want to follow him. And so by default, he becomes the leader. And he's said several times, again, a 6-year-old going around saying he wants to be a leader, be a better leader, be a good example. And so all of those things, right? I mean, daddy's puffing his chest out, right? I'm super proud moment here. But then on the other side of that, he starts to identify with the fact that he doesn't have to get it all perfect. He doesn't have to get it all right today. It's okay if he goes in, tries today, and fails, right? Because we learn from our failures. So that opened up another teachable moment, another opportunity to have a little bit of dialogue before we got to school and talk about the fact that it's okay. And in many respects, it's necessary not to be perfect. So that's the encouragement today. Don't be perfect. Actually strive not to be perfect. Go fail at something, right? But do something. Whatever it is that's on your mind, whatever it is that's in front of you, whatever it is that you're, and I'm holding up air quotes right now, you can't see them, but whatever it is that you're preparing for, go get started. And so I think the other trigger for me that made me want to do this podcast today was everything that led up. It was just a huge reminder of some things that are going on currently in my life and everything that led up to launching this podcast. I can't tell you how many times I came up with excuses, reasons that I wasn't ready to get started. I didn't have the right microphone, the right recording gear. I didn't really know how to put together a podcast. I didn't know who the host site was going to be, or, all of those are just really just questions that need to be answered. As I started answering them, I got closer and closer to being able to actually host and launch a podcast. Now, yet to be seen if it'll be successful. And honestly, I'm not really sure that's the point. My goal is to reach as many people as possible, to help as many people as possible. And whatever platform helps me do that is worth it to me and one that I want to explore. And if the podcast is a way to do that, if that proves to be an effective, valuable activity, I'm going to keep doing it. If it isn't, that's okay. I'll probably still keep doing it because I don't want to just stop doing something that could become valuable or is valuable to maybe a demographic that I haven't gotten in contact with yet. So I don't want to take it away prematurely. But I do want to make sure that I'm adding value. And right now, this is one of the tools, one of the platforms I'm using to go do that. But I had so many reservations, so many hesitations, so many reasons not to do it, right? So many things I had to do. So I made the woodworking reference earlier. I won't draw the analogies and everything, but I'm a hobbyist woodworker. So I like to build things. I always have. In my past life, I've shared a little bit of this on this channel, and I'm sure I'll talk about it some more just because it's part of my history. But I've been a builder of sorts, a project manager in the construction space, both residential, commercial, and industrial, basically my whole life. I've been exposed to it since I was 3. And so building has just always been there for me. So I got into an office space in my home that I was going to turn into my studio to record my podcast. And what did my mind do? Oh, it had to be the studio, right? So now I'm saving money. I'm buying stuff. I'm building stuff. I'm trying to get this studio ready. You know what I'm not doing? I'm not recording any podcast content. I'm not even sitting down writing down notes about what I'm going to talk about on my podcast. I'm not practicing speaking. I'm not practicing building out a format for the podcast. I'm not thinking about how these podcasts are going to apply to my listeners and how I'm going to get you, the listeners, involved, because I do intend for this to be interactive. So while I was stuck and paranoid and using the build out of the studio, which by the way is not done, I finally got out of my own way and said, you know what? The studio doesn't have to be perfect. I wish you could see it right now. I am sitting on a makeshift, I'm sitting on a chair, but I am sitting, and it's a real desk chair, so I do have that, but I am sitting at a makeshift desk. It's something that it was just leaned up in the corner, a couple of pieces of metal and a glass top that I don't use, but I had taken apart the main desk in this space because I was going to modify the size and move it into a different place, and I just haven't done that yet. And so in order to get going, I went and I grabbed these 2 pieces of metal, put the screws in, and slapped that piece of glass on top. Now I have a surface, and I've just got my laptop and my microphone and my interface sitting here in front of me, and I'm talking to a wall. So there's no excuses, right? I took all the excuses away. If I can do it with this, then whatever condition this studio ends up being in over the next 24 months works, right? There is no scenario where I can't record content for my podcast. And I have even ordered a little microphone attachment for my phone, so that when I'm on the road, I don't have to take a bunch of gear with me, right? It's just a little professional quality, shotgun style, very small format microphone. It was something I saw that I thought might be useful for when I'm on the road. That way, when I'm inspired, anytime, I can just hit the record button on my phone with that microphone attached and get, a better quality recording when I'm on the road. And that was really the only goal, is so I was trying to remove another barrier. So we travel some, not a lot, but we do travel. And I didn't want to have the excuse when I'm on the road to, I would sit down and do a recording right now because I have something I want to talk about, but instead maybe I'll just make a few notes. Or maybe I just won't do it because I'm not at home. I don't have my studio. I can't make a good recording. And I don't want those barriers. I don't want those excuses. Now, there's other gear I'm looking at. I'm sure many of you are familiar with some gear that I could get, that would be more portable and wouldn't take up a lot of space. And there are some products that I'm looking through right now, talking to some support reps to try to figure out what's going to be the best fit for me for when I'm on the road. But if this microphone works, honestly, that might be it. Maybe that's the best thing for me. And I do plan to use the studio the majority of the time. But again, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have another excuse to lie to myself and say, well, if you can't do it perfect, just don't do it at all. And I honestly, I lived a lot of my life that way. I used to say, and I still say it, but I think I mean something different by it now. And the phrase is this: anything worth doing is worth doing well. And I wholeheartedly agree with that statement, by the way. What it's not, though, is this: anything worth doing needs to be done perfectly. So that's a very different statement. And I think, for me at least, and maybe some of you can identify with this, when I heard and said to people, anything worth doing is worth doing well, what I really meant when I was saying that to myself or somebody else is that if you're going to do it, it better be perfect, right? Because, my personality, I tend to take kind of extremes on things, and if I need one, then I'm going to get a dozen, because if a little bit is good, then a lot is better, right? And that, of course, that's not always true. And so I think I took that phrase way out of context in my immaturity, and I've learned over the years, and hopefully started to realize and take a different direction, a different approach in my life, that perfection really is not necessary and is not almost ever going to be the expectation. So I'm working really hard. My wife and I, are working really hard to raise our child in a home where perfection is not the expectation. Now, some of you out there, I know this is happening. Some of you listening to this are going to hear me say that and think to yourself, because you think the way I used to think, oh my goodness, how could you possibly think that? Right? There's some of you that heard me say that and you're thinking, well, that's just ridiculous, right? And I am now one of those people. But I used to be one of the people that said, no, perfection's it. Strive for perfection. And there's lots of, and I love them. They're very empowering. There's lots of memes and phrases and like bumper sticker type, phrases out there right now, catchphrases, things that are being said and shared on lots of different platforms, social media and otherwise, even print. Or speaking, motivational speakers will use a lot of these phrases in their deliveries because they identify with people, and people have seen them, they've read them. To some extent, we've all heard them, processed them, and reacted to them in different ways. But the premise is really best stated in this one phrase, which I think I haven't met anybody that hasn't heard this one, which is progress, not perfection, right? Progress, not perfection. And that might be one of my new favorite catchphrases, because that really captures the essence of all of this, the mindset of all of this, this podcast, but really broader than the podcast, just in life. Are you taking action? Are you moving forward? Are you working toward a goal? Or are you even setting the goal or only setting the goal, right? You're just setting the goal, but you're not taking the action, or you're not even setting the goal because the goal is too scary. It's too far-fetched for you to even think that you could set this goal and achieve it perfectly. So to remove that, instead of working toward it and being okay with 80%, you're just not going to do it at all, right? So if I don't even set the goal, then I don't fail because I don't even have a goal, right? So perfection does that to us. But please hear me. Perfection is not the goal. Action is the goal. Whatever it is that you're thinking about doing, whatever it is that you're afraid to do, don't be. Go start. Take one action today. So I'll leave you with this. There's a quote that I like. Here's the quote. I just found it in an old journal. I had written it in the back of like the cover, not on one of the pages, somewhere in the journal, but right in the front where I saw it every time I opened that particular journal. And so when we talk about improving, getting better, starting something, and I said just go out and do something, right? Take one small action today. So here's the quote. Make a small change this week and learn from it. Make a bigger change next week. Learn from that. Repeat. End quote. So that's the idea, guys. Do something today. Learn from whatever it is you do. Tomorrow, one more action, right? Do something else. And the idea here is that we're going to build on it. So take one step today. Learn from the step. Tomorrow, one more step. And the reason I use steps this time is because you can think about walking down a sidewalk, right? So if the goal is to get to the end of the sidewalk, you take one step, you're still facing the end of the sidewalk. So what do? You take another step. Well, what if you get off balance and all of a sudden you realize that you're now facing into the street, right? The idea behind learning from each step is that I observe my surroundings. I'm now aware that I'm facing in the wrong direction. I need to adjust, face down to the correct end of the street, and take one more step until I get to the end of the street. And the beauty behind this is you never get there, right? Perfection is not the goal. Whatever it is down at the end of that sidewalk, you're never going to get there. You will achieve goals along the way, but guess what's going to happen along the journey? You're going to set new goals. That's the journey. That's the goal. The individual goals, the small little wins, the achievements, the relationships, maybe the income or the opportunity to be generous along the way is rewarding. But the real goal is to develop a lifestyle where every single day you're learning from your actions and you're taking more actions. You're setting new goals and you're going farther than you ever thought you could. So that's the challenge. Do something today. Take the first step. Make a change. Take an action. Right? No more excuses. Because really, at the end of the day, there aren't any. And life is too short to just sit there and wonder what if. I'll catch you on the next one. So I hope you guys all enjoyed that kind of impromptu session. I really just got inspired. I had a great conversation with my son on the way to school, and I wanted to share that with everybody. So, take it for what it is. These are my thoughts, one person, but I'm going to do my best to keep bringing you new content each week or every other week, and yeah, we're gonna do this together. It's a journey, and perfection is the enemy. So go out there and be your best. But let's not try to be perfect. Let's be okay just learning. And let's go make more mistakes than others are willing to. And I would say that in the long run, as many professionals and people who we would all agree have succeeded, they've all said something very, very similar to this. The only success that I've had has been the result of failure.